Actually, right now. Oh, nope. Right now. Welcome to the podcast, and we got like 3 more extra people. Season 3!
Let's go!
Hey!
Let's go, baby!
We got 2 new guests. We got new people. We got me, of course. We got Riley, Chase, Matt. And there's another Matt.
Matt too.
And this guy. Is your name Caleb?
Yeah.
His name's Caleb. Okay, we got Caleb. Can we clap that up?
Yeah, Caleb!
Motherfuckers in my ethics class. Let's get it.
And today what we're going to be doing is discovering the philosophers of the future. We're going to be interviewing people, figuring out their philosophy, determining whether or not they got the goods to be the next philosopher. The next big thing. Big thinker.
Big thunker. Okay.
So Caleb and Matt are our specimens today.
The big cheese of philosophy.
The big cheese. Alright. You know what? I guess we'll start it this way. Caleb, I gotta ask you a question. Well, what do you believe the purpose of life is?
No. Just find happiness.
Find happiness.
In any way that doesn't, like, directly, like, sabotage another person's self-interest.
Okay.
Basically it. Like, just don't be a dick.
I can get behind that.
Just be happy.
Well, you know what? I can't get behind that. It's really nice. So Matt, I gotta ask you.
Yes.
From one Matt to another.
One Matt to another.
What do you believe your purpose in life is?
My purpose in life? I've always thought of myself as like almost an observer. You know,
You are the one that watches.
A lot of, like, social contexts. I kind of sit back and observe, watch other people, see what's happening, and I feel like that kind of speaks for general life experiences. I like to observe and like see things, you know. I feel like I'm here to observe what's on Earth, like the natural beauty of it. I'm here to see that.
Oh, that's an interesting take, honestly.
I like that, yeah.
Fuck yeah. You know what, Chase? I gotta ask you in that case. What's your purpose in life, Chase?
I think the purpose in life primarily is to evolve, to change throughout time and adapt to what situation you're going to be in next. So really, the purpose of life to me is fluid. It's ever changing, and as Caleb said, part of that is to evolve to be able to find happiness wherever you go and whatever you do. So that's what I think it is.
I know in the last episode we talked about happiness and like what that would constitute. Some people saying happiness being a mindset, others being like happiness is the action to get to like a certain feeling.
I think happiness is a choice more than anything.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
Just as much of a mindset as it is a choice. You know, certain people may find it harder to get into that mindset, but it's a choice to force yourself into a mindset where you can be happy with what you have.
Yeah, it's like a condition of living. It's not like a...
You have to every day struggle to be happy. It's not going to be easy every day, but you have to make the choice to fight to be happy.
But is that the end goal, though?
Is happiness
it's not the end goal, it's the goal along the way, is to be happy
so that's what
along
gets
the way
you through.
to the end, yeah.
Gotcha, okay, I like that philosophy. There are a lot of philosophers that disagree with you, but I like that. I like that a lot. Soren Kierkegaard is one of those. He says that
it kind of goes along with the journey rather than the end goal.
It's not the end, it's the journey. I got you, okay. I like
and if you can't enjoy that journey, what does the end goal matter?
You know, I would say happiness is the byproduct of you serving your purpose is the best way I would put it.
That's in a way, happiness comes from fulfillment.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a do what you love, not love what you do, or is it both of them?
I mean,
because you're gonna get stuck with situations you're just not gonna be happy with.
Yeah.
But do your best to adapt to those situations?
Yeah, and make your best out of those situations.
Good. Okay, that's cool. That's really cool.
I do appreciate the growth
choice
mindset.
in every situation, you know.
Yeah,
you're in a bad situation. You make the choice to get yourself out of it, to pick yourself back up.
Exactly.
Everybody's gonna be down, but it's a matter of how long you stay down.
Okay. What do you think about that, Caleb?
Caleb, you're just gonna comment on this shit.
Think about this, Caleb.
Caleb is the observer in the chair.
I am the observer in the chair.
No, bro, you're our interviewer.
I don't think honestly, if there is an end goal, I'm not sure if there is an end goal. I think we're here for this very small amount of time.
Oh, is he a nihilist?
Oh,
let's get it!
What does that mean?
A nihilist is nothing matters pretty much, and it's all sad and gloomy.
It's not sad and gloomy. I'm saying, but nothing.
Yeah,
I can play off the nihilist.
In the grand scheme of this Earth that we live on.
Yeah.
Like, you can contribute to it.
Yeah.
And if you choose to do that, that's great. And you find happiness in that, that's great. That's your journey. But there really is no end goal.
Oh, I see. You're talking about like we're all little pieces to a huge puzzle kind of thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It would be great if everyone thought there was an end goal and everyone worked toward an end goal.
Yeah.
But that just isn't.
So I wanna layer up to that. So like let's make this like an analogy. Like us people, we represent little puzzle pieces, and serving our purpose would be like connecting to the bigger puzzle itself. So do you think us serving our purpose contributes to a higher form of society?
But what he's saying is there is no inherent purpose. There's no innate value to you or what you do. You just so happen to like feed and be a part of the overall puzzle.
Yeah.
I mean,
without like even if you choose like not to, you know, like it's not a choice. You do either way.
I mean,
whether you play your role or not, you're still in the puzzle. It's just how well the puzzle fits together.
You still fit in, like.
Mm-hmm. But I get that. I was thinking though. I think as long as people believe that there is an end goal, then there is one. Just as if people believe in a god, then to them there will always be a god. So part of it is really just belief in the end goal. I would like to raise my hand for next turn.
All right.
Oh, you done?
Yeah.
Okay, so is there a term for like in a way positive nihilism?
Yeah.
Is it absurdism?
I feel like that's just in a way defines exactly how I feel because
is it?
I mean, nihilism isn't necessarily like you can be a positive nihilist.
Yeah,
I don't know about the
because nihilism itself is just
it's just
like there's no meaning.
There's no connotation to nihilism. Yeah. People interpret it negatively, like nothing matters.
Okay. Yeah. So kind of how I feel. Yeah. We have no definitive proof of anything being true in terms of religion.
Yeah.
Anyone could realistically be true. You know, the TV in this fucking room could be God. And that's as likely as any religion. You know what I mean? So there's no definitive answer. So to me, living your life with the goal of treating others well, because like he said, we have such little time here. Why would you waste your time being rude, being disrespectful, being mean to somebody else, which at the end of the day waste even more of their time because they're going to think about it more than you do.
Oh shit, yeah.
So at the end of the day, just treat others well, and if any religion is correct, I think a God would recognize that.
Yeah.
That you lived your life with the goal of treating others well.
I think that's what's funny about that is that's like Satanism to a T.
Yeah.
the satanic, the non-satanic.
I may or may not be a member of that church.
well
then,
okay.
Through email.
Like that Russian email I got.
Man is the prince of Nigeria.
Going back to like the puzzle piece analogy we had earlier, how I fit myself into that is I think that there's no defining like puzzle that the whole world follows. You kind of, in a way, create your own puzzle, and you can control what you do with your piece, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, in my opinion, the natural world is just so goddamn random. There can't be.
We talk about this creating order through chaos.
But
yeah,
I think we as humans create our own meaning.
Okay, I would disagree with the natural world being completely random.
I agree.
I don't think it's been designed by a creator, necessarily. It could have been.
Yeah.
However, there are so many functions in the natural world that just intertwine with each other and they interact so cohesively. Like the very cells in your body are attached by proteins that happen to just do that function.
Have you seen the stuff where it's like I can't think of exactly what it is, but it's a picture of like a nebula or something, and then it's a picture of your neurons, and they're formed exactly the same way.
Yeah.
Or like the rings of a tree, and then it was something else.
I mean,
in your body, like biologically, we are identical to things that are going on in the universe.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's because they're all
It's kinda
operating
fucking
under the
wild,
same principles of gravity, and all that sort of stuff. Gravity, strong. What's it called? I don't know. Magnetism.
Well,
Quantum
sounds
physics.
Just
sounds
physics,
good
yeah.
enough. Sounds good enough.
yeah, it's not like that. It's just something complicated and it'll just work.
And
Just
then
say
we'll
quantum
edit,
physics
we'll edit
instead.
it together.
Just call it quantum physics and boom.
Yeah.
I want to ask you a question.
Everything's operating under physics,
Right.
so everything is gonna interlock somehow because they're all under the same rules.
I think what's cool, or like what I was just thought about was, I think what man interprets as something he can't control, he calls chaos, even though there's order already. Just because we can't control something like nature doesn't mean it's chaotic. It's got its own set of rules and laws that you just explained.
And we've been living so far out of those rules and laws for years that we don't recognize them.
We would be the disorder of
Exactly.
nature, if
Yeah,
anything.
yeah.
We would be the chaos.
Not only
Think
that,
about that.
we view other people as being chaotic because their order is different from ours.
Yeah.
So, of course, everything is just chaotic if you
I mean,
observe
you
it in
go
that
to
way.
many European nations, they take take naps.
Yeah.
I said that so fucked up. It's normal to take a nap around like dinner time, and they don't eat dinner until like 10 p.m.
Yeah.
You go to a restaurant at like 6, they aren't serving anything. They'll give you like some fries, but almost everybody will take a nap in the middle of the day. That's not normal here. You know,
Yeah.
like a regularly scheduled nap. That would seem kind of chaotic. We go to a restaurant around 6 to get dinner. We're like, what the fuck? No food?
No comida.
Where everybody at? Like, even stepping out of our culture into another culture, which we've already defined as unnatural and chaotic compared to the natural world, it's chaotic to us, just going into another culture.
And it's funny because people that explain chaos as something different from themselves don't even. People, I think, as people with rationale and shit, can't even understand themselves. Like, when you say, who are you? You use all these outside terms.
Things that
like,
are assigned
oh,
to
I
you.
am this person's brother or father, or I'm part of this group. Like,
Nah, you
I
get
would
what
say
you're
I'm a
saying,
Sigma
yeah.
Pi. You don't even know who you are. You don't even know what the
You
like,
just
core
use
element
external terms
So
to
how can
describe you.
anything be different from or more chaotic than you are? Because you're just pretending to know just as much as everybody else is.
Yeah.
You define yourself with things that are forced onto you, your name.
Yeah,
That are
exactly.
kind of made up in a way, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
But it's
all
fun
the,
because
all
it's
the
like we're all
social.
playing make believe, you know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and we're walking around like the ant colony has no more order than you do. You know,
The ant
no more
colony may have
purpose.
more order than you do.
Maybe more order.
Well, yeah, exactly. But you're like, oh, I'm greater than that because you're bigger, or
No, I'm more sentient, I think.
I guess
But,
that's true.
but then again, the ants are living their purpose to their maximum, are you?
Ants are some of the smartest insects that there are.
Is it a matter of...
I'm so glad this is turning into an
Mind.
episode of Animal Facts.
I think it's more
New
of a matter
episode
of hive
idea.
mind, and they all
Yeah.
obey. It's a matter of obedience rather than intelligence.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but there's
Which is why
also
they haven't, taken over the entire Earth like we have.
yeah,
We have
the-
all
The ants are
individual-
their
taking
sort of
over the
intelligence isn't the same as
podcast.
humans' intelligence,
Podcast?
of
Indeed.
course. But
Featuring Zeke.
Yo, Zeke appears.
Season
my
5!
Ask him the
my
question too.
class.
I am.
As Zeke,
What was the question?
Dude, I completely
what's your?
lost.
Isn't it like what's your purpose in life?
Oh wait, no. The question was, actually, y'all asked a different question. I went to
Zeke,
the
what is your purpose in life?
Yeah. What is your purpose in
What
life?
is my purpose in life?
What do you live your life day by day believing?
That I'm gonna do something to change the world someday. Don't know what, but I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna make it to change the world.
Answering my follow-up question.
No, like, what's
Why
your,
don't you
what's
kill
your
yourself?
definition of
Well, alright, so
What is your
That's a
reasoning
real
for not ending your life
something
every day?
that I really want to do, and this is big picture deal right here, is I want to take something with engineering and create something that makes everyone's life easier. And
So we can get fatter?
I mean, if you want, but
So you can
you never
profit.
know. I can make something to where it builds people's muscles like crazy. So they
Mega
don't.
Steroids?
Yeah, exactly.
Those exist, bro.
But like I'm just saying, as an example, like I want to like
You want to create
something.
something like mind-bending.
He wants to create
Yeah,
a new
but
drug.
I want it to be a positive effect.
That's
You want the new DMT
Hey,
drug.
I'll be the tester for
Yeah,
any drug you come out with.
Yeah, hit me up in like 20 years when you invent like weed part 2.
Hey, I'm not
the
that.
second.
Like chemist here.
Marijuana.
Marijuana.
Hey, marijuana's pretty cool.
You tell
Mary
me.
and
His
iguana.
second purpose.
His purpose in
His
life was
second
to
reason
smoke
for not
the most
killing
weed he could.
Dabs.
Dabs, fat dabs.
That's true.
Big old
Drug
blobbers.
episode.
What?
All right.
Damn.
What?
I thought you caught that.
How fitting we were talking about chaotic.
Yeah, we were talking about.
I mean,
chaos.
this is only chaotic if we're talking about our established order that we just had, though.
Oh
Don't
shit!
do
Which
this.
is also true.
This is a social order.
Damn.
Damn.
Hit him with it.
That's deep.
What?
Zeke
Featuring
doesn't take philosophy
Zeke.
classes.
Was Zeke walked in disturbing the natural order?
Could this be the most orderly episode of Eric Andre? Could he be hiding in that closet ready to burst out and interview us?
Tell me about your order.
Of my order?
Yeah.
So basically, I got some fries earlier today at McDonald's. It's just like asking each other questions, but in the podcast, I guess.
Oh, you guys are like going in like
We're
questioning
interviewing.
order?
These are our next candidates for the new philosophers.
Zeke,
Okay.
you have a trip?
Yes.
Tell us about your worst one.
My worst one.
This truly is
Oh,
the
This is
next
gonna go
philosopher.
forever.
Oh, dude.
We're only
I've had
16
quite a
minutes
bit
in,
of
it's
bad
fine.
Oh, okay,
trips.
that's not bad.
It's
I
all
think
good.
one of my worst trips was the people that I was all tripping with. We were all like,
This is quickly turning into like Joe Rogan.
The monkey evolved.
Damn, that chaos stuff is crazy. Y'all ever tried DMT?
but so me and like all my friends, we took like 4 tabs of acid,
Oh my
and
god.
we were just all like tripping sack together. And then like midway through the trip, one of my friends,
Like round the peak.
probably around there, and I just remember at one point, like, one of my friends calls out a loop. It's just like, yo, a loop's about to happen right here. She's gonna walk through his door and be like, I don't know where this is. It's exactly what happened. The girl walked around the corner and was just like, I don't know where this is. And then, like, she just walked away, and then I was just like, oh, I can't let that get to me. I'm just tripping sack. And then all of a sudden, like, in the trip, like, I was tripping out, thinking that all my friends were talking shit about me, but really I was just tripping sack. And dude, that was terrible. Just a whole 8 hours of thinking of my friends hating me.
And because of this, he doesn't know that we hate him. He's
He's
just been down
He
here.
actually gaslit himself into thinking
Like,
we
he
don't
was
hate
right.
him.
Everyone did hate him.
No,
Mine might beat yours, to be honest.
Well, I just don't know. That's like the one that comes off the top of my head. That was my most recent like bad trip.
I have a horrible one. So, a little bit of context. If you know what magic mushroom paralysis is,
Yeah.
God.
for anybody that doesn't know, when you're tripping on a decent amount of mushrooms and you're really dehydrated and in a hot environment, you can go into like just a seized state.
Yep.
And so, me and like 4 friends bought a decent amount, probably like a quarter or a half of shrooms. I took the most because I put in the most money. I had about an 1/8, and they were some really strong shrooms, and everybody else had around 2 grams. So we're chilling inside, and around the peak, the crackhead of the group suggests we go out to my car to listen to music. And so one of my friends loves to trip by himself. He stays in his room. The 3 of us go out to my car with the intent of getting to the car to listen to music. So, out of the 3 of us, we have me, normal friend, crackhead friend. Me and crackhead friend are alright. We're surviving. Normal friend gets outside and it's humid and muggy and hot and disgusting. And he just sits down on the steps and he's like, I just need a minute. I'm like, bro, get in the car, get in the AC, you'll feel 100 times better. It's this fucking humidity. And he does not listen to me. And so after about 5 minutes of him just sitting there, like, looking so dead, especially because I'm tripping. Like, he looked like some ghoul.
Yeah.
Like,
Everything's hiding.
Lord of the
like that,
Rings type shit. And
Man, looking like an orc.
out of nowhere, he goes from like kind of sitting, leaning on his knees, and his like back straightens out. Then his hips, then his legs shoot up in the air, and his arms are like stiff up in the air too. And so I like run to him, I grab a hold of him, and like shake him out of it. But for the rest of the fucking trip, I just like get images of this man's face as like a zombie.
Yeah, that's really weird.
I think my worst one. I don't know exactly the amount I did, but it was acid through sugar cubes, right?
Yeah, you can do it like that.
Yeah, I underestimated the fact that I'd only done it once before, and that's the reason that my second time is my most recent time. I was sitting on a couch, actually really similar kind of to this one, and I'm horrible with describing things, so y'all just bear with me. It felt like the particles, like in like the molecules inside of me, like on my back, were fusing with the ones in the
you were
couch.
counting one with the couch.
Yeah.
Oh no!
Yeah,
then,
I know all about that.
and there was nothing in this was probably like a blank slate room, no like decorations of anything on it at all, like white walls and shit, except one clock. And that fucking clock, I don't know how to describe it, or I'll not sound like a fucking crackhead, right? But that clock, something about it kept warping and warping, and it's like, I was fixated on it for what ended up being like an hour, right? Over the course of this hour, it slowly morphed into like a face, and just the fucking image of that still plays in my mind. And then I experienced ego death, and that was fun and shit.
you just died.
Actually, ego death is pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's fucking wild.
Everybody needs a good ego death.
I agree. I 100% agree with that.
Yeah. Or anyways, before this goes off the rails,
So,
let's like rail it back in.
What is the concept of ego death?
Yeah.
So
there we go. There's something to talk
your like
about.
whole like personality and inner thought of yourself just gets like stripped bare to like what you are.
So ego death is essentially when you're tripping, it can get to the point if you're tripping hard enough where you have no concept of self.
Yep.
And that's essentially what it is. You have no clue what your name is. You don't know that you have a name. You don't know you have a physical being. You don't know that you are a person. You just feel like energy or just consciousness, you know. And once you go back, it's hard to adjust.
So then, do you know who you are now?
I haven't
Like, we were just
experienced
talking
the full
about
ego
that.
death.
Oh,
Like,
you know who you are?
Yeah,
Like, who are you?
100%. Like,
I don't know. I don't
in
think
that
Zeke
moment,
knows
it's
that.
like
So
what
you can't describe it. You can't understand what it feels like after you've had it done.
Yeah, but like
You
in the
ever seen,
moment of
like,
that trip,
Doctor
it's
Strange?
like complete.
No.
Oh fuck! It would be like a terrible example then for you. Then there's like one like scene or like part in the trailer where like Doctor Strange gets like punched by this one bitch and like his like ghost self like flies out of his
I know what
body
you're talking
and then comes back in. That's exactly what it feels like.
Interesting topic. If anybody knows anything about DMT, there's a YouTube series called Tales from the Trip where they like animate stories of DMT.
Yeah, I'm good.
And
off
so
DMT.
this dude, I think he's a comedian or something, but he
Joe
had
Rogan.
a batch of DMT, and he regularly did it. And so in this DMT world, he would consistently see this like purple DMT princess, who was his fucking girlfriend
Princess
in the DMT world.
This is Finn from Adventure Time.
Yes.
Yo.
So his friend gets some DMT from him, and he never told anybody about this. His friend does the DMT, and he sees this fucking being, and she asks him if he knows like the friend's name like specifically, and says that she's his girlfriend. So he comes out of the trip, tells his friend about it, and he's like, "What the absolute fuck?" Because he didn't tell anybody about that shit.
Huh.
Is that some type of evidence that the realm you go to when you're in DMT, because you're not in your own conscious body?
Yeah, it's like
Is
a.
it
Yeah, there's
somewhat
always been
level
like these things about DMT being a
Yeah, is it
completely
some
different
other-
I've
dimension.
never like done it, so
realm
like
that has its
I
own
have no
timeline?
clue,
Is it
but,
some
like,
weird-
Only one
I
way
can
to
see
find
that.
out. I'm going to perform a
Time
science
slips of
experiment.
DMT.
And you can
Season
kinda-
4 is gonna go crazy.
Season 4 gonna go hard.
You can expand on that with the known fact that DMT is released in your body,
Correct.
the chemical,
Yeah.
during birth and death.
Correct. Yeah.
So
it is
could you
stored in
expand
your
on that
brain.
and say that when you do DMT, you could say, you know,
You go to the
when
afterlife kind of
when
shit.
it is released in your body during birth, it could be the spirit entering your body. When you do DMT, you could say that it's a kind of a chance for the spirit to temporarily leave go to that afterlife in this context, and then when you die, it's released, and that's a permanent exit of the body.
Yeah, but I've heard the argument like, what if you get a shotgun shell to the head? Like, what the fuck happens? You know how, like, in parts of the brain it's released? Like, what happens? Do you just not go to heaven or whatever? Like, do you just not experience afterlife?
Yeah. Also, does DMT also, since reality is essentially just a hallucination that your brain is making up based off of interpretations
you
from
saying that, what if?
Your ears and your eyes and your nose and your senses, is DMT an active agent all the time?
Okay, listen.
Well, actually,
not just-
I can't actually comment on this. Because apparently parts of your body do produce DMT at all times, but we have inhibitors that literally just, like, neutralize it basically instantly.
So
Yeah,
what
it's a
could
very
be
small
happening?
amount of DMT in your body.
What could be an explainable
That's why
method
DMT,
of, like,
DMT trips last like 10 minutes.
it could be
what if,
possible.
though, everything in arm's reach, that's what your reality is.
Where-
and everything
No, I
around
like this thing.
is
Okay. It could just be
It's just in
possible
a simulation.
that
just an imagination.
your cells, when they die, like after you die, the processes that are neutralizing the DMT just aren't occurring anymore. And maybe for a moment when you're born, or when conception or whatever happens, DMT just isn't being produced up until a certain point, and then after it's being produced, the cells will start then breaking it down and neutralizing it. It could be what it is.
I mean, that was,
Shit, babies
that was
come
not
out
good.
crying. Maybe they're just having the craziest trip of their
They
life,
could
bro.
be.
They're like,
They
holy
could be.
shit, what the fuck is that?
Maybe
And
babies
that's
are
why
just-
you don't get consciousness until 5. You're just having a crazy DMT trip, bro.
And then that's why you don't remember anything either.
That was a very poorly timed noise to make. I know
I
I
have
did.
nothing to say.
I did have one thing that's completely off topic and more so what we were talking about earlier. And I'm horrible with transitions, so I'm gonna just go right into it. A big idea with like the 3 schools of like nihilism-ish thoughts, like nihilism, absurdism, and existentialism, is like the fight between what's the best path you can take between like philosophical suicide, physical suicide, and acceptance. And I wanted to go around and ask new Matt and Caleb their opinion on that.
Well, could you define like?
Yeah. Sorry. Philosophical suicide is like you making a conscious decision to prescribe to a specific school of thought, say like religion, to like
Alright, I'm thinking
find
of
your
some
own
shit.
answer.
That's what I was gonna do.
physical
You guys
su-
sucked me in.
Physical suicide is more. That's self-explanatory.
Wait, so what's philosophical suicide?
Committing yourself to one specific
Belief
realm
set, like
Okay.
religion and stuff like that, versus like physical suicide, which is self-explanatory, and then acceptance is basically like accepting the fact that, or accepting the idea that there is no meaning and you make your own, basically.
Well, wouldn't acceptance... So, are you saying philosophical suicide is definitively religion?
No, there's
Because
not necessarily.
If acceptance, you can make your own in a way that would also be philosophical.
There's definitely
That's
mixes.
kinda what I was
you can
thinking
have,
also.
Yeah, you can have a
Yeah.
mix of all 3.
No, I don't think those things are like
Set in stone.
you choose one and be
Yeah, it's more of like a fluid thing.
If it is a choose one thing, y'all have to choose one like right now.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, I wouldn't say physical suicide because while there might not be any point
Mhm.
to this life, any tangible point, that is the exact reason why there's no point to killing yourself.
Right. In my mind, basically, physical suicide is, I feel like, disingenuous to like everything around you because, like, I mean, life is all about experience, and if you take yourself away from that, like, you've lost the ability to make your own decisions about your own life
Yeah.
because it like ends.
So I guess I'd say a mix between philosophical and acceptance.
Mhm.
Because I accept the idea that there could be possibly nothing after. And
Yeah.
it could be just peace, you know?
Yeah.
No consciousness, nothing. And I accept that. And that kind of gives me a bit of freedom.
Mhm.
But I also accept the fact that any religion could possibly be true. So I live my life with that knowledge as well. You know, if I'm living my life purely under acceptance and freedom, knowing that nothing is going to happen, at the end of the day, I can, I don't know, want some money, I can go rob a bank. I mean, obviously, I know I'm going to end up in jail, but,
Yeah.
you know, I can be a dick to somebody if they don't mean anything to me.
Yeah.
You know, that's not going to make me lose any sleep at night.
Mhm.
If I'm purely just accepting that nothing's going to happen, but I also acknowledge what could happen, what could be there, which is why I live my life trying to be as good a person as I can.
Yeah, and not to piggyback off that, but that's pretty much my philosophy with it too. You know, like I don't like to say that things do or don't exist if I don't definitively know. I kind of live my life in like a very open-minded, like
kind of a gray area.
Yeah, everything.
I think that's like that biggest bit of anti-philosophical suicide, because even nihilism being structured is philosophical suicide, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So being in that gray area is the only way to avoid it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And is it necessary, is philosophical suicide all that bad?
Obviously not, because people do it all the time.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's literally just pigeonholing.
It's our
like
way of
choosing to be an
establishing.
accountant
Well, what's good or bad is really defined by our own perceptions.
Yeah, exactly.
And how you use philosophical suicide in a way.
It's
suicide
more,
just has a bad connotation to begin with too.
Yeah.
So like you could say philosophical suicide, you would automatically assume that was probably the worst possible option that individual could have done, but that could not be true.
Objectively, suicide isn't a bad thing. You know, chances are somebody who's committed suicide would have gotten brutally tortured and killed the next day in a much worse way.
Yeah, that's true.
In all of history, there has for sure been a person to commit suicide who would have suffered a much worse fate from that point on.
Yeah.
Hitler,
yeah.
I agree. I mean, just by chance, you know, maybe they're.
Some things are just worse than death.
You know, some things may be worse than death, and if your existence truly is enough to drive you to that point, there shouldn't really be anything wrong with that. The only thing wrong with it is people's attachment to you and the pain it causes the other person or the other people.
I agree.
To your point, if life is about gathering experiences and garnering all these experiences and just living, just simply being able to have life, then if you're about to go to prison for 60 years or something, like I don't know a very good example what one would be, but you know, several people, if they're committed of a crime, do commit suicide. I guess Epstein.
Yeah.
He committed suicide.
Yeah, that's a good point. Did he? But you know,
season 5 we'll discuss.
Let's assume he did.
We have
maybe
the next 10 seasons planned.
That's better than living life not free. Like
it
to
depends
do
on the
what
person,
you want to do.
know, if
depends on what
if that individual decides that they would rather not exist than exist locked up for likely the rest of their life, maybe they should. But you know, if they can live happy with the fact that they'll have access to books, they'll have access to a library, they'll be able to work out, they'll be able to go to church most likely, they'll be able to work a job, you know. It's terrible.
They want to drop this.
The prison system is horrible, but you can find meaning within it.
Yeah.
Even if it's just self-repentance for what you did.
And I think that works for literally everything.
But to that point, though, the meaning that you can find is limited to a very small structure.
Yeah.
And it's an order that's completely out of your control.
And do you accept that or not? If you accept it, you stay alive. If you don't, you don't.
Yeah. It's also about how, like, what your quality of life is. You're willing to limit yourself to, you know?
Yeah.
And for people like Epstein or Adolf Hitler, they were at the high end of the totem pole on the social scale, whatnot. They were wealthy. So, of course, they probably wouldn't want to go to a prison.
Oh, he would be charged much worse than
in prison.
Exactly.
I think it'd be torture, if anything, for sure.
Yes. Now, Caleb, you were saying something about how it all depends on what you would define as free. You want to elaborate on that?
Well, I mean, the whole point of you would either commit suicide or not commit suicide based on how free you thought you were. Isn't death if that's not the end for you, then I guess that makes sense. But if death is the end, then not confining yourself to a certain type of order. Yeah. If you're not confining yourself to this specific order and you reject this order, so you kill yourself, that kind of defeats the purpose.
That means that you're confining yourself to less.
You're confining yourself to death. To nothing.
Which is less than structured than like very limited structured freedom or like life.
Are you saying it's like immoral because it rejects the structure of existence?
Well, no, it just goes against the purpose of like you want to be as free as you can, but as far as we know, there's nothing after this. Like we can't be sure, so we must assume that there is and there isn't. So you're either confining yourself to like that limited structure of life, or like potentially nothing else.
I have a question which is very individualistic, and everybody can have a specific answer.
Oh, let's hear it.
Okay.
Individually, do you believe that the possibility of nothing is a bad one?
No.
Not necessarily.
Because if there really is nothing at the end of the day, it's not like you'll remember it when you die. Like, let's be honest here. It's not gonna be like you're sitting in the void being like, well, damn, there's nothing. You're gonna be gone. Like, there won't be anything. And, like, it's not necessarily a bad thing either. Because I feel like that's what gives life a purpose at the end of the day.
I'd like to go next because I have a little bit of a different perspective on this based on experience. Somebody I knew succeeded in a suicide attempt for a brief amount of time, and they were resuscitated, and they said all they remember was it being the most peaceful 2 minutes of their life. So in a way that kind of gives me ease, you know. If there truly is nothing, at least it's peaceful, you know. Maybe she didn't see anything because whatever's there knew she was coming back. But at the same time, maybe that is all that's there.
Well, I mean, if it's just eternal peace, you know what I'm saying?
What's bad about that?
That means there's not nothing. There's eternal peace. That is something.
I mean,
that's a feeling, yeah.
I think it all depends on what you're driven by. Now, we've been under the assumption that everyone is driven by the impulse to find freedom. But there's also another method of thinking that people often employ, being driven by fear. Fear of what could be worse. It's the same thing that religions usually use to get people to join their religion because you don't want to go to hell.
Yeah, living in fear is the biggest cage you can put yourself in.
And I usually think of like dictators and stuff like that too.
The smallest cage you can put yourself in is the most entrapping. A big cage means you have a little bit of wiggle room.
I mean, I'm talking.
It's subjective once again, but keep going. Keep going.
That was basically my thought. Living in fear leaves no wiggle room. It's the tiniest little bird cage you can trap yourself in.
But some people like that bird cage, like we were talking about earlier.
Well, here's the thing.
If you go to prison, it's no different than being entrapped philosophically. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
some people really prefer that lifestyle.
My whole theory is that fear can motivate people into improvement. And like that, because my whole like thought process stems from that humanity in itself hates uncertainty, and that's why instead of just living like caveman, we've like gone into science and observing the observable universe. We don't have to do that shit. It really don't matter at the end of the day. But we try to discover what does what or what because we have that fear of uncertainty. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
we want to know things.
We can go back to living like wild fucking animals.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
It's just that we choose as a society to try to understand.
So I wouldn't say fear traps you, but to those it can motivate them to explore the bigger picture of things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I agree.
But it can. I'm not disagreeing with you either. I've seen fear like shut people down, like stage fright and just like simple things too. Like it's really versatile.
Fear can be a motivating factor, but is it a positive one?
And then
I can say it can.
Will you feel rewarded at the end of the day if you accomplish something, but you did it out of fear?
Well, to you that'd be achieving a goal of not falling into that thought that you were going to lose.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
It's all just, I mean, whether you like it or not, you are just trying not to be the failure. You're trying to be the alpha. And if you think that there's something on that there's nothing on the other side, or if there's something bad potentially on the other side, then relieving that stress and that fear is like the end goal. It's like that is what you get your most pleasure from, you know.
Yeah.
And I'll put it in like
go ahead.
I'll put it in like a practical sense. I think it's very nuanced. I feel like fear itself is a very big double-sided coin. I'll bring up two practical example for each. Let's say you really like somebody and you want to ask them out, but you live in fear of the idea that they're going to say no. It pigeonholes you into never asking. and you'll never truly know the answer.
Yeah,
because
you never
did.
You never shoot a shot.
Yeah.
If you don't, or
Yeah.
you never hit a shot you don't shoot.
You can't drain a bucket if you don't chuck it up.
Yep.
But on the other side
Such
of
a
that,
southern
like,
thing to say.
say somebody's like holding you at gunpoint with your entire family, and you're like you're a very calm and like calculated person. That fight or flight will kick in, and you'll have an instinct to protect. So I feel like fear itself is like a natural force. Although it can pigeonhole you in certain ways, it can legitimately be helpful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
For
also-
improvement, like Matt said.
Yes.
Yeah,
I always like to think of people that came from nothing and were afraid that they would be like nothing for the rest of their lives. It works their way to the very top, you know what I'm
It's
saying?
the best success stories. Is they're driven by fear.
Yes.
It all depends on how the people respond to it.
Yeah.
Like if you're afraid of
I have an interesting.
something happening, and because you're afraid of that, you don't take a chance, then it's just gonna happen.
Yeah.
But if you try to change it, if you exert your will onto it, and you meaningfully try like to do something to just fix it or remedy the situation in some way where it's better for you, then it'll always help.
Okay.
Well, look. I'd like to bring up the topic of success.
Yeah, what's
Wait,
up,
hold
John?
up. Let's go back. Let's go all the way around. We didn't get all the way around. I agree with Matt basically that failure breeds success, and it's like and then it makes you happy at the end of the line. You know, if you overcame fear. What do you think about it, Caleb? The question was if there is an overarching like negative thing at the end of, like, if there's like a hell, does that influence the way you live now? Do you think it's a bad thing that there's a hell, or like that people believe in a hell?
So are we going off of what Matt said, like is eternal nothingness after death, like, is that a bad thing?
Oh, I think that was the question, right?
That was the original.
That was the original question. Yeah.
That's been played off of for like 10 minutes
And
now.
then
Yeah.
just turned to like the fear thing, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know where that came from. But yes, is eternal nothingness
To
bad?
us now, with all of our experiences that we're used to experiencing, yes. But if you die and there is no experience and you don't remember experience,
I mean, where were we before
then
this?
no.
What's the point of personal growth, in my
Do we-
opinion,
do
if
we
it's
have
all going to
trauma?
lead to nothing?
From being nothing before this, before we were born? No, you know. Or maybe we do. Maybe that's why we're scared of the nothingness.
Oh, shit.
Oh, we're gonna.
Now there's lore.
Now my skin crawls. And my one thought I just had was like, what's the point of personal growth if there's nothing for you at the end of the day? You know what I mean?
I think that is. I agree with that.
I mean, yeah. In a way, there may be no point to personal growth.
But that's like the
But
whole
personal
absurdism.
growth-
There's no point to anything.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
I mean,
which
yeah,
is why it's
yeah.
like a laughing matter.
But that
pretty much.
kind of opposes my idea of why, if there's no point to anything, why live your life in such a sorrowful way? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why not self-improve? Why self-improve, but just the same way, why not self-improve? What's the point in not self-improving? You know, there's nothing at the end of the day, so why not be the best version you can while you're here?
Yeah.
Because that goes back to like the pendulum thing. If you're not actively trying to improve yourself, like, you're putting yourself in a box almost.
Mhm. If you believe you're stuck the same way you are, you will be.
Yep. It really is the power of thought.
So it's about
I think Riley said this last episode. We become like what we think.
Yeah,
That's
you become what
literally
you think about all day long. That was a quote by Ralph Waldo Emerson. And he is absolutely right.
Obsess over something and you can, you obsess over a class you take, you're going to succeed in that class. You obsess over a career, you're probably going to do everything you can to achieve that career. You obsess over a goal, you're going to achieve that goal.
Absolutely. People
It's
underestimate
not
the power of the
necessarily a
human
matter
mind
of
for
personal
sure.
ability, it's a matter of personal commitment.
That's
I think
right.
Anybody can achieve, within reason, anything. It's just their level of commitment and desire to do it.
Yep.
Yeah,
The human mind really is underappreciated for that, for sure.
I can agree.
You can take the most low-achieving person and say it's because of this or that, but give them the motivation and the desire to do whatever it is, and they can, I can't remember exactly who it was, but in my psychology class, we talked about some psychologists who made the claim that you can give me anybody, any selection of children, babies, and I can raise them to be whatever I choose. Like a doctor, a firefighter, a soldier. I can raise them to want to be that.
Carl Young.
I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
Sound about right.
Does sound like him.
Yep.
Yeah, no.
Damn, everyone here recognizes him but me. Okay.
No, I'm gonna find
He is.
It's like one of 2 things I remember from AP Psych last year.
He made like personality tests and all that.
Oh yeah, he's that guy.
Was he also the one that was incredibly unethical? Or was that a different guy? There was one guy.
I think that's Sigmund Freud,
That
bro.
was Sigmund Freud.
Everyone wants
twins.
Dude, he's like, everyone wants to fuck your mother, goes and tortures twins.
Go torture these twins.
And then why? I don't know why anyone listened to that motherfucker, but here we are today.
But here we are with girls having daddy issues. I mean, in some
hunters.
ways, he may be right.
Crazy.
MILF hunters. That's funny. So, at the end of the day, obviously, we've all chosen not to kill ourselves.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
We all have
Can we get a round of applause for that?
We made it to college. We have some
Guys,
desire
it
to
was
keep
Watson.
it
We were so wrong. Watson.
Oh, okay.
Oh, John Watson. Yep.
And Crick.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah.
Wait,
Get a round of applause for Watson.
Season 4. This is season 3. I can't remember.
Let's go.
Yeah, I guess this is season 3. Yeah. That was good, guys. We did it. We made it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, but fuck. Okay,
Thank
I'm
you
just
to
ending
whoever
this.
listened.
Bye bye.
Yes.
Bye bye. Peace.
Have a good